Brawl Stars update, 100% honest review. You guys know the drill. I've already done the sneak peeks where I've covered everything that actually came in this update, and now I actually get to share my opinions on the update. I'll be 100% honest, as I always am, and afterwards I will rate this update on a scale from 1 to 10. My opinions might be different from yours. They might be different from Supercell's, but I'm not going to let that prevent me from being 100% honest with my thoughts. You guys know how I am. I'm not going to let anybody impact this, no matter what you want me to say. Even if you disagree with me, I'm just going to tell you what I think. Let me tell you this, though. This update did feel a little bit different. It almost felt like a turning point for Brawl Stars, at least in my opinion. And if things have been going a little bit on the downhill slope for Brawl Stars in the past year, well, I think it's going back up, guys. We've got a lot of exciting stuff to be excited for in the future of Brawl Stars. But can you guess what I am most excited about? I'll give you a hint. I did 2 videos covering it. Both of them were about an hour long. That's right, gears are getting reworked. Now I'm gonna save the future of Brawl Stars stuff for later in this video, after we've actually talked about what we actually got in this update. After all, this last Brawl Talk was a little bit weird. We didn't get even more than half of the stuff that was actually talked about. But I can't tell you just how excited I was to hear that Supercell changed their mind on gears. Oh my gosh. Wow, the last update was a real fiasco, wasn't it? Okay, even though they have not completely reworked gears right here, they're not ready to, right? They just got back from a 1-month vacation from the summer, right? But they did immediately cut the cost to upgrade the gears in half. Right now, this update, that was something they could do easily, so they did so. Oh my gosh, so great. I know that there are people that didn't believe me when I told them that Supercell was listening to our feedback, and I understand why you felt like they weren't listening, but no matter how things went down, you have to admit that Brawl Stars truly does care about the community feedback. They told us that they weren't even going to touch gears this year, and they could have stuck to their original plan. But after hearing how strongly everybody felt about gears and kind of how they just were feeling about the current state of the game, they changed their plans based off of our feedback. That's not easy to do, to admit. I don't know if I want to say that they were wrong, but it's kind of, right? They kind of admitted that they were wrong and decided to change things, and cutting gear costs in half is an amazing start. Now, we don't know all the details on how gears will be reworked, or how they will address legendary brawler luck in the future, or how they're going to add the new PvE game mode. We don't know all the details. We also don't know how masteries are going to work, and I don't think I'm going to cover their concepts and how I think they will work in this video, but I do have some ideas, some theories, some speculations, maybe not necessarily anything concrete, but I've got some good ideas based off of my personal experience. So let me know if you would like to watch a video in the future where I talk about the future of Brawl Stars and talk about where I see some of these things going. For now though, let's talk about the brawlers that we actually got in this update. Gosh, I don't know about you guys, but I feel like the developers are getting better and better at making really unique brawlers. Like, oh my gosh, we've had brawlers that punch like Sam does, right? We got Rose, we got El Primo. We even have healers like Gus, like, Poco and Pam. And somehow Sam and Gus are healers and punchers, but they're still incredibly unique. They got very different gameplay designs. It's really cool. I don't know if it's the fact that I don't know. I feel like when you release a brand new game, it's a really good idea for you to have kind of basic concepts, like Colt. He's a pretty much straight shooter. He deals a lot of damage, and there's not much complex to him. But over time, the developers have started adding all these different complex little features into brawlers, and these 2 brawlers are a lot more complex than a lot of the ones that we've had in the past. And honestly, I think they're going to require a little bit more skill to master than some of the brawlers that we had. Like Shelly, there's not much to Shelly, right? Even Nita, even a little bit more complex of a brawler, like a healer, like Pam. There's a little bit more to Pam than some of the first brawlers that were first put in the game. I say that, but she was one of the first new brawlers ever put in the game. Anyway, you guys get where I'm coming from. I am honestly so excited about Sam. He's really a lot of fun, very unique. His gadget is actually really cool, but I'll talk a little bit more about him later on. But I'm especially excited to try Gus. He is so weird and so unique, and his artwork and his style really cool and interesting. I'm excited to see what his lore is. We've got to learn more about his lore. I mean, he's a spooky kid. I've seen theories ranging everywhere from he's actually a dead child to he was traumatized from some sort of experiment in Star Park. We don't know, but I'm excited to find out. Now, one thing I've been seeing a lot of people commenting about is asking if Supercell is going to slow down new brawler releases now that we have 60 brawlers. 60 brawlers is a lot, okay? But if you ask me, any update where we get 2 brawlers instead of just 1, That's a good update. New brawlers, I don't know about you guys, but they're some of my favorite new content. I really like new game modes. I really like new brawlers. And it's kind of sad to see do an update where we have a new game mode and we have 2 new brawlers and people say that it was a small update. And I understand where they're coming from because like we're not getting any major big changes with this big update. I mean, really, we're not. It's kind of like a cut and dry, like we got in our season pass and they've got this formula of like every new Brawl Pass we get this, and this. And that's what we got this update. But at the same time, new brawlers, I mean, I love new brawlers. They're so awesome. I think maybe someday, like way in the future, I could see Supercell shifting away from creating new brawlers so they could focus on other features and stuff like that. But I'm really eager for more brawlers right now. I don't know about you guys. Like I've been playing the same brawlers over and over again for such a long time. Like, I don't know. I probably just played my 900th match with Rico because I like Rico. Maybe I've played more than that. Maybe I've played less than that. I don't actually know, but you get the idea. Now, another thing I've been seeing people talk about is that there are too many chromatic brawlers in the game and Supercell should do something about the chromatic rarity. And I can actually see where people are coming from with this, okay? But I've seen people suggested to make them just all epic after, you know, because the first month they're chromatic, then maybe the next month they make them mythic, and then the next month they make them epic or something like that. Then we would just have a bunch of epic brawlers. So I'm not really certain what Supercell could do about the chromatic rarity. I will say though, now that we've got 60 brawlers in the game, I really wish that we had some way to sort brawlers alphabetically. It's getting to the point, Supercell, where it is difficult to remember which rarity every brawler is. There's 60 brawlers in the game. You have to remember 60 different rarities. Yes, you learn them one at a time, but gosh dang it. Alphabetical sorting, how hard could it be to put in the game? I don't know. I'm not a game developer, but as a player, I would appreciate that. Either way though, I think Supercell did a really awesome job with both Sam and Gus, and I think they are great additions into the game, even if I think that Gus could probably be a little bit stronger. Now let's talk about the new environment, the new Brawl Pass, the new season. I really like the new environment, the new Brawl Pass, and new season. Okay, for real though, the new skins are so good. Like Crowbone, Stonk Spam, and Mecha Mortis. They could have just released those 3 skins and I would have been like, take my money, Supercell. Best skins in the game. The Stonk Spam skin, you know, for a meme skin, it's really good, okay? And the other 2, I mean, they're just insane. They're just so good. You can tell that Supercell just really focused on quality rather than quantity in this update for their skins, and gosh dang it, they're so good. Now, I know that some people, it seems like anytime any character in the game gets remodeled, there are some people like, I like the old Jesse skin better, you know, or in this case, I like the old robot skins better, whatever, you know. No, the new models for the robots, they're just better, okay? I don't care what you have to say. I don't know how everyone else feels. They're just better in my opinion. Now, I don't know how everybody else feels about like all of the new sprays and profile icons and the pins and stuff like that. I've been seeing some people say like, oh, Supercell's releasing all these cosmetics. Like, why are you guys focusing so much on cosmetics? Here's the deal, okay? First of all, if you don't want them, you don't have to buy them. So then people are like, okay, well, I'm not buying them, but you know, I want Supercell to focus on other content that I want in the game. Well, guess what? The artists that are working on those pin skins and the profiles and stuff like that, they're not in charge of creating new game modes. they have artists that specifically work on new environments and stuff like that, and then they have artists that work on the pin skins and the sprays and stuff like that. They do separate things. Just because we get more pins, sprays, and icons doesn't mean we're missing out on new content, new game modes, or new features and stuff like that. This is like Supercell, in my, like the way that I see it, is that they have been building up towards being able to release just a ton of content. And what I really love about all these new cosmetics, the sprays, profile icons, and pins and stuff like that, is the fact that we're actually frequently getting special events with wacky challenges. I don't know about you guys. You guys played that robot challenge where like the giant robot would just spawn and chase players down, and like it was super wacky. It was only at 8 wins, right? And we got this profile icon for it, and you know what? That was fun. I really enjoyed that. It was super unique and weird and fun and random, and we got an icon for it, and that's kind of what's happening is Supercell's releasing all these new special events, and it gives you a reason to like be like, hey, friend of mine who also plays Brawl Stars, let's go do this thing together. And yeah, you guys get on to try and get the pin, and it might seem a little bit like a hassle of like scheduling with your friends or whatever, but even if you don't get the pin, like it's fun. It gets you in there, you're excited to play it. That was some of the most fun that I've played, at least when it comes to the challenges. The super sweaty ones like the Brawl Stars Championship ones, those are stressful. But for the little wacky fun pins and cosmetics and stuff like that, I'm a big fan of that. And you know what? You guys know that I'm a gemmer, obviously, but if you're complaining about Supercell releasing new content in for gemmers, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, but like they've got to make revenue, and that's a great way to do it, because I buy every pin, every spray, and every profile icon with gems that come into the game. Obviously, I'm a content creator, it's a tax write-off for me, so like I'm not saying everybody should be doing that, but like that is a way for them to be able to create their game and for all the free-to-play players to play it completely for free. So I think that's awesome. Also in this update, we got 8-Bit's Last Stand. If you guys missed Lex's video where we actually played all the way through Insane 4 on that, make sure you guys go check it out. It is really worth it. It's really good. And after playing through Insane 4, I really like the new game mode, okay? It's not too much different than some of the other PvE game modes. I think it might be a little bit more fun than Robo Rumble, might not be quite as fun as Boss Fight, but it is much better than Super City Rampage. And you know what? It's fun. It's a new spin off of those things. I'm excited to see how high the community can actually get in a challenge, and I'm very anxious to see if they find any sort of exploits. Now, one thing I'm not 100% sure how I feel about is the increase for the trophy season reset. They essentially doubled the length, and I really want to know what you guys think about this. Okay, so think about it. If you have strong opinions, let me know in the comment section below. I know that anyone who like has frequently pushed in the ladder in the past is going to like this. After all, now they have twice as much time to push their brawlers to new trophy records, and like hopefully matchmaking will get a little bit better for the people that are way up there. But what I'm mostly curious about is what the average player is. The average player excited about this change? I don't know how you guys have enjoyed the ladder, but I've never really been interested in pushing brawlers high in trophies. Like it just takes forever, and like your progress is gonna get reset for your brawler anyway, and if you want to do it for like 1 or 2 brawlers each season, that's fine, but if you want to do it for all 60 of them, I find it just a hassle enough just to push each brawler 1 trophy throughout the whole season so that it doesn't get reset. Like I find that to be tedious, because guess what? Most of the time I'm playing quests, because that's where progression comes from. And anytime I'm not playing quests, I'm playing Power League, because that's way more fun than the ladder in my opinion. However, that might actually change with the way that they're changing the trophy season reset. So I'm really curious to know how you guys feel about this change. I would wager that a lot of people will enjoy it. People will push higher trophies than they ever have before, but I don't know about you guys. I think the ladder system needs a rework. I honestly do. I think it needs to be completely reworked somehow. And I've got some ideas. I'm thinking about talking about that in a future video, because the ladder just doesn't feel satisfying to me in my opinion. And please tell me if I'm wrong. So that's what I want to know. Now, that's pretty much everything we got in this update. And it's kind of a weird update to try and rate, because I could look at it from a few different perspectives. We've had smaller updates where we got one cool new feature, like when the map maker was put into the game. We've also had much larger updates that were also controversial, to say the least, like when Power 11 was put into the game. This was honestly not the biggest update, but with 2 new brawlers put into the game, it was bigger than I was expecting. More important than that though, pretty much everything we got was really high quality, even if we didn't have any new revolutionary changes to the game. But no matter how I look at this update and I try to rate it, I just can't ignore the fact that half of Brawl Talk was dedicated towards addressing community concerns and talking about the future of Brawl Stars. Has that ever happened before? Like, not to the extent that it happened in this update. I don't know how you guys felt about Frank talking about the future of Brawl Stars, but honestly, I was more excited about that than everything that actually came in this update. Not just because we got a glimpse into the future of Brawl Stars, but because it made it clear that the developers are really listening to our feedback and are doing their best to make Brawl Stars the best that it can be. I titled this video, this update felt different, and that is why. So even though this might not have been the most game-changing update, and we might not have gotten the most content put into the game, this was a very positive update in my opinion, and I feel completely justified in giving it a score of 9 out of 10. Like, it's got me more excited to play Brawl Brawl Stars than I have been for a while because I'm excited about what's actually coming. And more important than that, what you guys care about is that it's got me more excited to create content for the game than I have in a while. So let's talk about what I am most excited for when it comes to the future of Brawl Stars. Starting off with the gear rework. Not only is it going to be simpler for us to unlock gears, since it kind of sounds like it'll just cost gold, but what I am most excited for is that it sounds like they are creating a gear system that will allow for them to add new gears into the game for the in the future. That's so cool. Frank specifically talked about introducing specific gears that won't be available on all of Brawlers, and to me, that sounds like gameplay customization is about to reach a whole new level. It's almost like Star Powers 3.0 in a way, because gears are going to be these passive abilities that change the way that all these different brawlers work. We don't know all the specifics, but I imagine we'll be able to like hyper focus damage on brawlers that deal a lot of damage like Colt and Piper, or like hyper focus healing on brawlers like Pam or Poco, or maybe even do some weird stuff like tanks all of a sudden are faster, even more than they are now, or maybe I don't know what, I don't know. There's a lot of cool things that they could do, and I'm really excited to see what types of gears Supercell comes out with. And honestly, I would really love it if the community came to, like, if I started to see some more concepts for gears in the community. I want to know what you guys could do. In fact, if you guys do a Reddit post of like 20 gear ideas, I would love to see that on the subreddit. That would be really cool. One of the issues that I've had with gears in the past is that it was possible to craft gears on brawlers that they were useless for. So my biggest hope is that we won't be able to craft gears on brawlers that they are useless on, like the vision gear on Buzz. You shouldn't be able to craft the vision gear on Buzz. As long as every craftable gear is actually somewhat useful for each brawler, and then that's exciting, because then it's actually worth it for you to craft multiple gears on multiple brawlers. And I'm really excited to see how Supercell makes this change. I'm also really excited about the idea of a full respec on all of our gears for brawlers. If you weren't paying attention, in the October update, everybody's gears are going to be completely reset, and we're pretty much going to get gold so that we can then spend that on gears. At least that's how it sounded like. And now I've talked about this in the past. When Supercell switched like the resistance gear to the vision gear, it was really bad that they did that without refunding them to players, because there were plenty of brawlers where resistance gears were good that the vision gear wasn't. So then you crafted it on a brawler, and then it was no longer good on that brawler, and that felt really kind of like a punch in the gut a little bit. And I don't think Supercell meant to do it like that. I think that they had the best intentions. I just don't think that they were fully aware of how that was working. They also did a similar thing when they reworked the heal gear. So it was not so good on some brawlers and then reworked to be better on some others. And so you get the idea. Giving players a full respec kind of like clears the table of all mistakes in the past. And I think that Supercell will do a better job in the future if they have to make any big changes to the gears. Oh man, another thing that I'm really excited for is the rework to the PvE weekend modes. Frank mentioned that there would be multiple stages, new enemies, and persistent power-ups, whatever that means. And all of that sounds like a lot of fun, but what I'm most excited for is just this tiny little detail in Brawl Talk where he said that this would be a place where they would be able to tell a story in the future. I really hope I'm not hyping this up too much in my head, but I can only imagine that if they add lore into the game in a way that's also paired with engaging gameplay, I am gonna be so happy. I love Brawl Stars lore. They've done such a good job up until this point of building this really cool and unique story that we know nothing about. There's so little that we know about, and I have so many questions, and I'm really hoping to get some answers, and I hope that it's paired with really fun and exciting gameplay. I want to get to the point where I can create some more Brawl Theory videos for you guys. I get comments all the time saying, you know, hey, put out another Brawl Theory video. And if I'm being honest, I really would love to, but we haven't gotten very much new lore added into the game in the past year for me to even make Brawl Theory videos about. So I'm really hoping that this adds for more depth to be added into the lore for the game. Now, after the October update, we don't know a lot of details of what's happening. Frank did mention Mastery, where we would have clearer goals and rewards for playing certain brawlers. I don't know how this will look for sure, but I do have some ideas that I could talk about in the future video if you want. And if they did a good job with this, I could see this this being a great addition for the game for players like me who've been playing for a long time, you know, playing for several years, who've played 900 matches with Rico, right? You get the idea. Unless you're trying to become a pro right now, there's not much of a reason to master any particular brawler at the moment. Like, it's, unless you just want to be competitive, you want to kind of play and you want to have fun and you just really like a specific brawler, then that makes sense. But you get where I'm coming from, right? Frank also mentioned they're taking a look at the current progression system and its reliance on luck. Specifically, it sounded like to unlock brawlers. He also said we'd have more say in which brawlers we unlock. And that sounds like a really big change, and that's what I'm most unsure about. Does that mean like the trophy road is going to be extended further so that like more brawlers are guaranteed? Or like, are they going to add a hard pity to brawl boxes so that we're guaranteed to get a legendary after a certain number of boxes? Is it going to be less reliant on luck? Or maybe they make it like based off of the lore in the game so that you can unlock a certain brawler in a trio through mastery of another brawler in that trio. Like, as an example, maybe you unlock Nita and then you progress through Nita's like mastery or whatever, and then you get to choose to unlock Leon. Like, they could do a lot of interesting stuff, and I don't know, but it sounds like the developers are working hard to address the community's concerns, and I'm really excited to learn more details. I don't know about you guys, but I would really like that. Either way, if you'd like me to do a video where I predict what they will do and come up with my own theories, let me know in the comment section below, and drop a comment telling me what you thought about this update. And feel free to be 100% honest. Also, subscribe so you do not miss any future videos. You can also check out my other channels, including my Free Fire channel right here, and check out this Sam unboxing challenge where my wife punched me in the face. For now, this is KairosTime ticking by, and we will see you in Brawl Stars.